So one of the most obvious submissions that's here is actually just moving for a head and arm choke or an arm triangle from here. So I already have his arm and his head isolated. One of the things I like to do is pull my arm through with my other hand. So I'm not trying to shoot this arm through necessarily. I'm using the freedom of motion that this arm has to pull this arm through and get close to the neck. For me, and there's a million different ways to do arm triangles, for me, the most important thing now is that I connect my head to my opponent's head so that he can't swim his arm out of here. After that, if I have a good connection here, I feel like I'm pretty secure in getting this finish. So I'm gonna pull my hand through and connect my head to my opponent's head. I'm driving my pressure into their head, and I'm gonna start laying them down as I continue to push my arm all the way through. What I want is to be able to get my elbow all the way to the mat, my head pushing in on their head. What I never want is my shoulder up on their face. We see this a lot, or my pressure driving up into their chin. After I have head-to-head connection, and my elbow's flat on the ground, I'm pushing his neck towards my elbow. I'm gonna put a knee in his hip and flatten my other leg out. From here, I'm simply trying to drive my shoulder to my arm. I'm not driving up and through him. I'm not squeezing. I'm driving my shoulder down and into his arm while I push his head with my head. There's a lot of times where people get locked up in that position, and you'll even hear commentators on fights say, oh, he's got that black belt squeeze. And it's true that some people can squeeze you right there, but if you squeeze and you're not locked up in the right place, you're giving a lot of effort into nothing. And your arms get blown out and you turn into noodle arms and it gets very difficult. Let's show it laying this direction.
Yeah, your feet will be facing the wall.
Yeah. So I have my harness, my back arm pulls through, my head connects to his head. From here, I'm simply trying to lay my chest and head flat into the mat while my arm drives through further. My elbow is flat on the ground, my palm is flat on the ground. I like to put my near knee in the hip so he has a hard time following me and I can take an angle. There's several different ways that people like to grip this. I know people very good at pushing into the mat and driving themselves in. I think maybe because of the length of my arm, I really like to S-grip and make that tighter. So I'm pulling my elbow down through further, I'm driving my head into his head, and now I'm just simply laying my shoulder into my hand. There's no squeeze, no press, just moving. If there's not a person there, all I'm doing is cutting down straight through into their neck. A lot of times we drive when we try and add power, and then we're just putting pressure under our friend's jaws. And they might tap because it's uncomfortable, but I can tell you that honorary black belts will not tap in competition.